This podcast is recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, who were our first teachers and storytellers. I extend my respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Welcome to the Habit Nerd podcast. I'm Dr. Bree Hearn, and if you're interested in habits, those tiny, powerful behaviours that shape who we are and what we achieve, you've absolutely landed in the right place. Join me each week as I interview a wide range of experts, dive into evidence-based strategies, and give you practical tools to help you build habits that stick and break the ones that hold you back. Hello there, and welcome to my first solo episode of the Habit Nerd podcast of 2026. I hope that you were able to enjoy a bit of a break over the holiday period and the new year, and I'm really grateful for those people who are rejoining me, my loyal listeners, and a big warm welcome to new friends. Even though this is my first solo episode dropping after the Christmas break, I have been highly engaged alongside my academic work in a new year as a university lecturer. I've taken on 3 new coaching clients, and we're working together through research-informed ways to live and work with more intention. Some people might not know that my business name is Know Your Why Learning, and the 3 clients that I'm working with currently all have really different whys to wanting to manage their time and their energy better and to be more productive in their paid work. One amazing client is going for either a promotion in her role or a new job. She hasn't decided yet. So she really needs to achieve more. She needs to have more runs on the board, and she needs to be seen in a certain way by her leadership and by her colleagues in her current role. So that is her why. Another wonderful client I'm working with is feeling a sense of guilt and resentment about how much of her work is bleeding into her evenings and her weekends. And she's feeling resentful about how much time that's taking away from her ability to relax, to be with her family, to do things like prepare nutritious meals, to help with homework. Even things like her own exercise is really taking a hit because her work is bleeding into her evenings and her weekends. So she wants to work with more intention and use her time and energy so that she gets her work finished, and then she can clock on to the other shifts as a mother and as a caretaker. And another client feels a sense of low self-esteem because she knows the habits that she needs to embed, but she's struggling to get her act together and to take the right action. So with her, that's highly personal, and we're working towards ways to get her good habits around exercise and reducing her doom scrolling on her phone to stick long term. And they're all doing super well. It is the joy of my life to use my research background and to be able to help these women, in this case, these 3 women, live and work with more intention. I'm also gearing up for some keynote presentations and workshops on healthy habits for high performance. So there is lots happening here behind the scene alongside this podcast that I love researching and writing and recording for you all. So if you are a new friend to the Habit Nerd podcast, a really warm welcome. It's my hope that you walk away with at least one new tip or one new way of seeing or way of being from each episode. Our habits are actually the silent architects of our lives, and each day we can feel empowered to make tiny micro shifts towards the life that we want to live. And it's great to know we always have the agency to course correct, to dust ourselves off, and to make the choice to act differently or to speak differently. I really like to think of the day in 4 quarters, so the early morning, midday, afternoon, and night. And if something for me goes awry in one of those quarters, that's okay. I have 3 more. And if it's a bad day or a bad couple of days, God willing, there's always tomorrow. So I really do like to think of habits in really small, achievable ways that we can move with intention towards the life that we would like to live. So Habit Nerds, our first solo episode of this year is inspired by something exciting that happened to me and to my family earlier this year, and that was that we moved house. Now, our house move inspired this podcast episode because it's about how our environment shapes our behavior. We know that our environment is always nudging us in certain directions. So when we moved house, the suburb was just important as the house itself. Because of this idea that we know that our environment is always nudging us in certain directions. So the life that we want to live, the behavior that we want to make easy for ourselves, is things like being close to green spaces. Because being close to green spaces, we recognize, encourages us to take breaks away from the screen. It encourages us to walk our dog. It encourages us to be together as a family. It encourages us to walk safely by ourselves. It encourages us to be inspired by trees and grass and fresh air and the water. So we needed to be in close proximity because the walking and the being out in nature and all of the benefits that that will bring was very important because of the behavior that that will encourage. We want our life to be driven by socialization. And by that, I mean, we want to be close to people that we align with. And also, we want to be close to currently where our girls go to secondary school because we want to encourage their friends to be around us. We want to encourage them to make it easy that they have friends over before school, after school, on the weekends. We want them to make it easy to have the people that are important to them close by and understand that the families of those children can trust us and that they can come in and, have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or a beer with my husband and I. And we really want to encourage that socialization of their friends and of our friends as they get older. So that is why the suburb and the place that we've decided to move was another important decision. We wanted to encourage opportunity, and by opportunity, I mean we wanted to be close to public transport, and meaning that myself and my husband and our girls can get places that we want to go without too many barriers in the way. The place that we've moved is just a few streets away from the local train station. We're right near the tram, so we can get pretty much anywhere on the tram and also buses. And this has opened up a world of independence and opportunity for all of us. It means that we can be at home longer because we don't have to worry about driving long distances. It means that it has removed the barrier of being in the car and paying for petrol and paying for parking and all of the environmental benefits of having less cars on the road make us feel good. In terms of opportunity, just this week gone, my girls and I met my sister in the city for an international netball game. It was a 12-minute trip on the train. We were close by. We got in. We had a fantastic time. We got home. Still plenty of time to go to bed at a reasonable hour for a work night and a school night. We are close to the city. Our world has opened up because of the opportunities, because of the suburb that we have decided to move into. So all of these are examples, I suppose, of how the desired behavior around fitness, around wellness, around socialization, around opportunity, around being home longer, around being able to get more rest and more time to do things like eat together, meal prep together, just be home with our dog and be home to enjoy our new place. All of these behaviors are encouraged because of the environment that we've chosen to live in, being the suburb. So that's from the macro level. From the micro level, the environment, as in our individual rooms within our house, was really important. James Clear encourages us to walk into a room and ask ourselves, what behavior is this environment designed to encourage? Is it designed to make good habits easier? And is it designed to make distractions or bad habits harder? So I thought about that, and that was front of mind as I was setting up each room in this house. We expend a huge amount of energy trying to be different from what our environment is set up for. The more different your environment is to the habit that you're trying to achieve, the harder you will have to fight to maintain it. So I'll give you a few examples. When I was setting up each room in this house, I was thinking about what desired behavior do I have and how can I make that behavior easy? So a few different examples. When I was setting up my study, the study needed to be comfortable. It needed to be light. The desk needed to have enough space for at least 2 chairs. The PowerPoints needed to be accessible so that we can plug our laptops in. I can plug my headphones, my podcast microphone in, and that it would look clean and inviting to sit in. I needed to make the chairs comfortable. I needed to make sure that my posture and my girl's posture and my husband's posture was going to be taken care of. I needed to have enough storage. There is no point having a study or an office where you've got all of your materials and nowhere to put them. That is just going to encourage chaos, and outward chaos forces inward chaos. So I needed to have enough storage. Then the storage needed to be divided so that everybody could access what they needed really easily. So I have a buffet sitting behind me on my desk that has doors that close so that I can feel a sense of calm and clarity. But inside those doors is a shelf or a little cubby for each person in my family. And they have pens at the front. We have clear notebooks. We have access to everything that we need. In terms of my girls' school materials, we've set up what they need for that semester. Each subject is really clearly labeled so that they just on the day that they have that subject just need to grab and go, put it in their school bag, and they know exactly where to put their hand on it. My bookshelf is set up so that the books that I use most often are at eye level, and the books that I use less often are lower on the shelf, but still aesthetically in a way that I feel calm and inspired. I've also got some greenery in my office because of all the research about being able to see green things and what that does for our sense of calm and productivity. And I am keeping my eye on a couple of art pieces so that I know there's one blank wall where I'm going to put up a painting when the right one comes across my vision and when I can afford to buy it after spending so much money setting up this home. But I will be really inspired by my background because I'm online so much. I'm teaching online, I'm recording online. I know that my background is really important. And so that the sense of environment, the sense of productivity and intention and being able to feel positive about how I work in my office really inspired the setup of it. This would be relevant for you. Think about your kitchen. When I was setting up my kitchen, think about the pantry. I needed the healthy, nutritious choices to be in eye line, easily accessible. There was no point having things in the fridge and in the pantry that I want to be able to access quickly to encourage nutritious eating habits over the back behind baskets and having to move things out of the way. James Clear, again, in Atomic Habits, talks about if he buys a 6-pack of beer and he puts it on the top shelf right in front of his eye line in the fridge, he will be likely to have a beer each night with dinner. Whereas if he buys that 6-pack and buries it at the back of the fridge, a couple of weeks can go by without him remembering that that beer is there. And so that's an example of making the good habits obvious and easy and making the bad habits either don't buy the beer in the first place if you don't want to drink it, or if you want a barrier between you and the beer, put it behind a few things where it's not so easily accessible. I obviously needed to set up all of my crockery and cutlery and everything, so there was no point having things that I use often in the most inconvenient places. I needed to have, things where I could unpack the dishwasher and put things closely away. If I want to entertain more, it's better to have my platters and that sort of thing in a cupboard where it's easy to reach down to rather than over the back behind, things where I have to move heavy things out of the way. It's not going to encourage the behavior that I want to become common in this new space. So that's an example of the kitchen. The lounge room was the same. We wanted it to be comfortable. We wanted to be able to encourage both the watching of TV, because watching movies together and watching series together as a family is something we really like to do. We're almost finished Stranger Things at the moment, which my girls are teenagers. I wouldn't recommend that for anybody that's younger, but it's something that one of us says ST, and then we know we all find our spot and we enjoy that show together. So it needed to be comfortable. But I also wanted the furniture to be movable. And so there's a big armchair that can face away from the TV and face towards the couches, because I want to encourage conversation time. I want to encourage friends and family to come over, get comfortable, and have a conversation away from looking at the TV. The same thing was for the backyard. We have a tiny outdoor space, but the way that we set it up was really intentional around the behavior that we want to encourage. We wanted a big table out there so that we can share meals together, not just ourselves, but also our extended family and also our friends. And a couple of times already since moving in, we've had people over and we've sat outside around that table. I've got platters out. We've all enjoyed, wine and cheese and crackers, and the conversation has flowed, and it's been exactly the sort of behavior that we want to encourage in that space. The same will be said for when my girls have friends over. I want them to be comfortable. I want everybody to have a space, and I want to encourage that sense of socialization with positive people. We bought a barbecue to put outside, and we bought a fridge to put outside so that we can encourage that idea of eating healthy food, barbecuing, lean meat, healthy grilled vegetables. We want to be able to stock the fridge so that we welcome people into our space and enjoy family time and time with our friends. The same can be said for setting up the bedrooms. We wanted our bedrooms to be comfortable. So I bought new mattress protectors, I bought new bed linen, and we want to encourage really good sleep and that our bedrooms are positive places. I set up the lighting to be supportive of good sleep. So everybody has dim lamps so that we can have those on at night rather than big overhead lights. That the blinds are blockout blinds so that it's encouraging of really positive sleep habits and good sleep hygiene. In terms of bedroom, we needed to think about setting up of our cupboards, our wardrobes. Now, that was a really fun task for me because I was able to go through all of my clothes to move. And even though that's overwhelming, that's also a really great clarifying exercise of what no longer serves me, what doesn't help me show up to be the person that I want to be anymore in terms of the clothes that I'm wearing. So I was able to donate lots, give lots away. And now my wardrobe is only things that I love to wear and that I feel really great in and that help me show up as the Brie that I really want to be for myself and my work and my family and my friends. I have things in categories. Everything is visible and everything is easy to put my hand on and get. Nothing's in balls, nothing's hidden behind other things. And I've encouraged my girls to do the same thing. They have, much to my husband's disgust, he had to put together a couple of flat pack chest of drawers, but they've had a lot of thinking time and discussion with each other and with me about which drawer should be for which thing. What do I use most often? Where do I want to be able to make it easy to grab my netball uniform or my underwear? Or how do I know which outfits feel good and which outfits go together? So all of these things are really intentionally designed around the type of environment that will inspire the sort of behavior that we want to undertake on a given basis. Once you pay attention to this idea of our environment helping or hindering our behavior, you will see examples of it everywhere. An example you might recognize is in the supermarket. Think about when you go into the supermarket, you've got your basket or you've got your trolley and you need milk. Most of us need milk most days when we go to the supermarket. it's not at the front, is it? It's all the way down the back on the back wall. The fridges generally line the back wall, along with other dairy items that you would be likely to need quite often. That's very deliberate. The supermarket want you to have in your sight all of the things that they want you to buy on the way to the milk. The same can be said in the individual aisles themselves. If you're looking for the cheaper or, the less expensive no-name brand of your tuna, your dry biscuits, your cereal, your rice, whatever it is, that's not in your eye line. It's down the bottom or it's up the top, hard to reach. The more expensive brands that they want you to spend more money on are most conveniently placed at your eye line. So there are examples of this everywhere in our community where the desired behavior that you have is either encouraged or discouraged based on the environmental cues. I'd encourage you to look at a habit that you're trying to break and think about how is your environment either helping you or harming you in your plight. If you are trying to eat less sugar after dinner, but the chocolate biscuits are in prime position in your pantry, as soon as you open it up, they're at eye line and easily reachable, well, that's not helping you. It would be much better to, as I said, not buy the biscuits at all, or put them at the back of the cupboard behind a few things, not easily accessible and not easily seen, so that you have got a few barriers in your way. And you might be more likely, if you're hungry, to choose a more nourishing option if that's closer in your eye line and in your reach. Another common one is people who want to spend less time on their mobile phone. If it's within reach while you're working, you're likely to pick it up. If it's in another room, guess what? Your environment is supportive of you breaking that bad habit of picking up your phone every 3 minutes. Same can be said for charging your mobile phone next to your bed. The first thing you will be likely to do if it's on your bedside table and within reach is to wake up, reach over and turn on your phone to look at the news, look at your email, look at social media, all things that we know set us up in not a great brain space for being able to tackle the day. So a way that you could hack your environment so that your desired behavior is easier is to charge your phone on a PowerPoint on the other side of the room where you have to physically get out of bed, and that way you're not likely to check it. So these are all examples of where our environment can be hacked so that our desired behavior becomes easy. And I would encourage you, habit nerds, to think about your physical environment and the behavior that it is encouraging in all areas. At work, are you sitting alongside people who are distracted and who are talking? And is that affecting the way that you work? The same can be said for your social environment. You need to go places where the desired behavior is the normal behavior. It is much easier to work out if you're at a gym where the normal behavior is to work out than to get over the barrier of working out by yourself or going for a run or going for a walk, because the social behavior is really encouraging in that environment. Sometimes I'm struggling a little bit with productivity and I feel my attention waning a little bit. If I'm working from home and I have just some basic admin to do, I might go to the local cafe because there's a social accountability there, and there's a couple of other people I know that have their laptops open with their coffee and they're just smashing through, 15 to 30 minutes work. And so there is a social environment there that is productive and is encouraging me to make the choice that I want to make, because remember, your environment is always nudging you in certain directions. You need to go places where the desired behavior is the normal behavior. So I hope that was helpful today, habit nerds, remembering that the more different your environment is to the habit that you're trying to achieve, the harder it will be to fight to maintain that new behavior. I would love to hear if you found this very simple idea of how our environment is either helping or hindering our desired behavior was helpful for you. If it was, let me know on Instagram, and I can't wait to catch up with you on our next episode together. Until then, take care. Thanks for being here for another episode of the Habit Nerd podcast. I am so grateful for your time. If you enjoyed it or gained a fresh perspective, please share it with a friend, or maybe you feel like giving it a 5-star review, which will take you less than 30 seconds. I do love all of my habit nerds, and I see you showing up every day as your wonderful selves. So until next time, take care.